Good evening, everyone. Our chairman will not be here this evening, so it'll be up to the vice chairman to handle the meeting this evening. Welcome to the September 3rd meeting of the East Hempfield Township Board of Supervisors. Tonight's meeting has been advertised to be held in person and online utilizing Zoom with login and call-in information posted on our website. The meeting will be conducted by the vice chairman, who will be assisted by an employee managing the Zoom site. Tonight's video and audio is being recorded and Robert's rules apply. To offer comment, you must be recognized by the vice chairman. For meeting participants on Zoom, please use the chat function to be recognized. Text your name and address to the moderator. Your request to speak will then be passed on by staff to the vice chairman to be recognized. Once recognized, unmute your microphone. After speaking, please mute your microphone. East Hempfield Township public comment rules will apply for all public comment. You must be a resident or business owner in the township to speak. You must identify yourself by name and address before speaking and sign the guest log for meeting minute purposes, or follow the chat procedure already described for Zoom attendance. Individual comment is limited to 3 minutes and must be about the agenda item being discussed, with the exception of public comment where non-agenda items can be addressed. No action will be taken by any no action will be taken on any non-agenda item of a non-emergency nature during the public comment period for non-agenda items. We will now move on to our first agenda item. Please join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Our first agenda item for consideration this evening is our consent agenda. The consent agenda addresses the approval of routine and repetitive business matters that tend to need little or no review, discussion, or deliberation. Consent agenda items are provided to all board members for review in advance of our meeting and are posted on our website. Any questions on the consent agenda this evening from anyone on the board?
None.
No.
None.
Okay. Any comment from the audience concerning the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda this evening.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second from Mr. Brubaker. I have a motion from Mr. Johnson, a second from Mr. Brubaker. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Okay, let's move into our action items this evening. First item on the agenda is Craig Hammonds, 733 Dorsia Road, requested a waiver of section 222-510H driveway design standards, which require a 3-foot setback for the property line. Anyone here? Is Mr. Hammonds here this evening? Okay. Would you like to speak?
No, I was just, when I.
Well, right up here.
Oh.
Hmm?
You gotta find it.
We'll get a mic in there for you. Yeah, bring it down, I'm short.
You good?
Speak right into it.
Okay, thank you. I had come over and spoke with a Beth Graham about applying for the variance or whatever. She said there was no variance needed, but then it was going to go in front of you. So I'm kind of at a loss. I don't know what really is going on. So I'm just here to find out what.
Okay.
So staff had discussions with Mr. Hammonds, Beth Graham, and also Nate Sturgis. The property in question, and we're going to pull it up for you, is generally a 3-acre lot, which probably was created in the 60s. It currently has access from Dorsia Road, 15 feet, and an access point from Marietta, which is 20 feet wide. I believe Mr. Hammonds wants to access the property from Dorsia.
From Dorsia.
He had first approached us about a 9-foot driveway, which would allow him then 3 feet on either side, which would meet our side ordinance, but it would not meet our driveway ordinance, which is 12 feet. So Mr. Hammonds indicated that 12 feet would be sufficient. This also provides us with adequate access for emergency vehicles, should they be needed up in that area. The Dorsia access point is much shorter, has less intrusiveness in terms of existing vegetation. You can see the bottom half of his property there is all wooded as it approaches Marietta. And these are not easements, these are actually property ownership that was created.
So he owns
He
the
owns
property.
both access points, yes.
Okay,
We have access from Marietta Avenue now. However, there's a storm drain right in the middle of what would be my access, as well as, yeah, you can see it right there. And then also we have a fire hydrant that will need to move off of Dorsia. So either one. And then there are other people that have sheds and various properties. We're going to affect, I believe, 3 or 4 different properties if we come in off of Marietta Avenue.
Okay.
So I was asking for Dorsia because of one, less families. I mean, I'm just asking for whether I can put a driveway in. I know we have 15 feet of actual tract, so I'm just trying to go the easier way.
okay. All right. Any comment from the board?
Just he has a legal right to access his property. And he has a flag lot, so he has to have access some way. We have conflicting rules. The setbacks are not going to really impact the adjoining lots by having it closer. It's still within the easement that you have. And a 12-foot drive would be a lot better than a narrow 9-foot drive. So it makes sense to approve this.
Yeah, you'll be able to. Sure. Okay. Anything else from the board?
Yeah,
Just
go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead. A question, but you're personally okay with either entry point? I know Dorsia probably makes more sense, but at this point in time, you're okay with either entry point?
Either or, I'm gonna have to have people move various, there's 2 people that I know have sheds on my easement or whatever you want to say there. And then we're gonna have to do something with the storm drain down on Marietta Avenue.
Okay.
Plus,
And
there's extensive woodland that you have to go through.
That's
To get
what
to
I
the
mean.
clearing.
It's like 800 and some odd feet versus 200.
okay. And right now, there's no house on the property, is my understanding, but you're
Nothing on the property.
planning on building a house?
Yeah, just a single, my retirement.
Thank you.
So just a couple of questions. So the original property dates back to 60s, give or take. Was the requirement for driveways and setbacks changed since the original property?
We took a look at the 1991 driveway and street ordinance. It did say 12 feet. So I don't believe it was changed.
And 12 feet's the current requirement,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
With a 3-foot setback,
Yes.
which really can't be met.
One of them can't be met, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Both those things cannot happen.
Correct.
And I believe Ms. Garber mentioned the 11, what was the minimum width driveway for emergency vehicles?
Our requirement for emergency access is 11 feet wide.
Okay, so what is the width driveway that you're requesting?
Whatever I need to have, that's all I need. Whatever I'm allowed to have, or whatever, if the township requires me to have 11 feet, then that's what I'll talk with. I had asked Mr. Madonna earlier about a flare at the end of the driveway because of Dorsia being narrow. So that's, you know, that's, I mean, I'm at your mercy. I don't know what you're going to allow me to do or not do. I know they want 11 feet for emergency vehicles, which is fine. I can only do 9 feet with a 3-foot setback. So I need a foot.
So I guess my thought is the lot was originally laid out with the intention to have a driveway there. If in the meantime, our emergency vehicles or just our understanding of what it takes to get into a property has probably improved or changed since 1960, I would suspect. So, yeah, I mean, given that, I think we need to make some kind of accommodation to provide that, to allow for that 11-foot driveway. If that's what our emergency vehicles take, I would suggest that we ask for an 11-foot driveway. That would give 2 feet on either side, if I'm understanding it correctly, which would be a change from the requirement of the required 3 feet. But I think it's obvious that there was a driveway intended to be put there when the lot was laid out way back when. So I don't think we're deviating from the original intention by doing that.
Yeah, and just a couple questions maybe for you guys. So when a fire hydrant needs to be moved and neighbors' sheds need to be moved, how does that get paid for?
Property owner.
Yeah, I was going to
In
say,
this
my
case, would be the property
understanding, I spoke with Steve Gone from the Water Authority, and he said if my property was deeded pre-1955 originally, which I'd have to go to the courthouse to find that out, which was what we're doing now, that the township would pay to move it. If not, I would pay to move, which is fine. It's not, that's, you know what I mean? That's fine. Now, as far as the sheds and stuff like that, then I'm gonna have to go down and talk with each individual property owner. And as far as the storm drain down on Marietta Avenue, I don't know if that's state-owned or how that works.
State-owned.
All right, and just, I know this was said, the sheds are involved in the Dorsia situation or the Marietta?
No, they're
Just-
involved in the Marietta Avenue.
Okay, so going back to Dorsia, it's the fire hydrant and what else?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is that it? Thank you.
That's it for now. Okay, do we have any other comment here this evening? Okay. Want to step to the microphone one at a time?
When you step to the mic, please state your name and address for the record.
Sonia Mylan, 735 Dorsia Road, Lancaster. So even the 11-foot is not going to meet the requirement of having 3 foot on either side. And, that was put in place for a reason. And I'm counting on you to uphold that since there is an alternative way to access the property. My house, my kitchen door is, from me to you, where the driveway is going to be, if it goes through Dorsia. And, if you've been up in that neighborhood, that does not go with how the neighborhood is laid out, So I'm counting on you guys to uphold what East Hempfield Township has put in place since there is an alternative. Because people who live in that area are the ones who are going to be paying the consequences. I don't know if you all checked your email, but I did send an email last night and, laid out my concerns and my expectations. And, my quality of life is going to be severely impacted if I step out my kitchen door and people are driving back and forth. And it's nothing personal. I mean, these people, they're nice, all of that. The little bit that I have had contact with them. But for the rest of my life, I've lived there for over 20 years. I lived in another house on Hilaire Road. I've been in the township for a long time. And I expect to be here for the rest of my life. And, I really do not want stuff right outside my kitchen door. That is not the kind of neighborhood that I moved into. And so I thank you for your consideration.
Could you tell me when you moved to your home?
2025, I believe. I'm sorry. 2004.
2004? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Sure.
William Linton, 808 Hill Air Road, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And again, I'm just looking and saying, we already have an access, it's 20 feet wide, that's going to come down to the pantry parking lot where already traffic goes in and out off Marietta Avenue all the time. And so if there's a single-family home, it's 20-foot wide. It will allow for your standards that are already in place and not have any issues like that. And one more person going in and out off the parking lot that is constantly in use shouldn't change anything as far as the traffic patterns on Marietta Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Amy McLaughlin, 729 Dorsey Road, Lancaster, PA. I just wanted to comment about, I agree with everyone who spoke. I live in one of the houses that is separated by the Dorsey Road entrance. And it's just too small. I mean, that area is just too small. And just to have these cars coming through with hardly any room on either side, I agree that it would be life-changing. Also, like our homeowners is based on where the water plug is, what do you call it? The fire hydrant. And, you know, I mean, that might affect what we pay because it was a certain amount close to our house, we got a better rate. So I'm just worried it could affect a lot of the people who are counting on that, you know, or who had that in their original plan with their insurance companies. I'm just really pleading that we don't do this since there is another way to go in and it is more trafficy. I think that would be a better place. Our road is not a place for high traffic or construction vehicles or anything like that. Thank you.
And hi, my name is Shelby Linton Ketty. I live at 725 Dorsia Road. The only things that I would add new here is, you know, I agree with the arguments that using the Marietta Avenue doesn't require a setback and it doesn't impact public infrastructure. So when I was looking at what needs to be done, because we're talking here on the agenda just about the waiver of the design standards, but we're acknowledging that we need to move public safety infrastructure. What it says here is that, yes, you must get approval from the water authority before applying for a waiver for your driveway location. The sequence is a practical and regulatory necessity as the waiver is dependent on the feasibility of the fire hydrant relocation. And like Mr. Hammonds, I talked to Steve this afternoon too. And so I know that it's still an open issue because we're trying to determine who would pay for it and exactly where that location would go. And so what this says here is that attempting to obtain a driveway waiver before the hydrant relocation is approved is premature, as you can't grant a waiver. The township cannot grant a waiver for a project that interferes with existing public safety infrastructure. So as I understand your own process, not only does the water authority need to approve where the design would be, which we don't have yet because we're still trying to determine ownership and timing, but the local fire company also needs to sign off of the relocation, which again, we don't have yet because I think we're trying to decide whether or not the driveway will impact the fire hydrant before deciding whether you need to do anything to design where that fire hydrant goes. And so I would argue that if you're really considering this waiver for Dorsia rather than Marietta Avenue, that it's premature to even do that because we don't have enough information and you don't have approval from the water authority or sign off from the fire department, as I understand is required. And so I guess I'm at a loss, especially when they're looking and they're okay with either option, the justification and the process here. But the other thing that I would say is someone who's lived in and around this neighborhood, I grew up around the corner on Hiller Road. Obviously, I like the neighborhood so much. I've purchased a home here. I've lived in East Hempfield Township for 47 and a half years and counting. Just from a safety perspective, I also question the location of this driveway. As Mr. Hammonds himself said, he was arguing, well, not arguing, suggesting that there should be a flare because of the viewpoint there and the speed at which people go on Dorsia. So I mean, when you're looking at egress and safety, I would argue because you have a better view on Marriott Avenue and you have wider easement, so you could have a much wider driveway. It would also be safer for our new neighbor as well.
Anyone else this evening?
Josh Hammonds, I'm Craig's son. Just wanted to say a couple things. We've already, purchased the property, obviously, and I've talked to the two homeowners that we have met, very nice people. As you can see, there is two access points, and that was one thing that, even when I had looked at it, when the property came about, my father was away and had me go look at the property to see if it was something that we were able to look at for purchase. If you do go, if you look, there is a storm drain in the way, and I know that there's fences also coming off of Marietta Avenue. I think there's gonna be a lot more, obviously. Yeah, as you can see, there's fences. I think there's gonna be a lot more work into actually making that accessible for anybody. And obviously with the distance as well. I mean, you can see there, that's gonna have to, somebody's sidewalk. I'm not sure where that memorial stands there. That's not something I'd want to disturb whatsoever, especially with that storm drain there. I think that's something that's quite, essential to have there. As I understand as well that, the fire hydrant is up there as well. I just think in my eyes, that would be something a little easier to take care of, just, less hassle, less people affected. I also do understand from the other homeowner's point of view, she does live very close to where the driveway would be. I understand it from both ends, but I just wanted to say something, just take into account. Obviously, you saw my father walk across here. He broke his neck in '06, keeps it going every day, So even if he has to take care of lawn down this way, as well as cutting the trees down there, I think it's just a little further. I think there's less to be had with coming up there. There's not gonna be much traffic coming in and out, in my opinion, I go over there, I try to see them as often as possible. I have a sister, but she has now moved down to Maryland. It's just something that me and my dad always wanted, have some land to be able to, do whatever we please with it. Nothing, crazy, but just have somewhere where, it's not the house that I grew up in that we can call our own and just kind of be able to do whatever may please.
Have you taken a look at what it would take to utilize the Marietta access?
I haven't fully looked at it. I'd like to bother minimal people. I wanted to walk up the Marietta Avenue access and see what truly would be affected, but I have not, just because I thought, in anybody's eyes, when they come to look at this property, they see that off of Dorsia, there's a straight shot already. And even if you drive by Dorsia and you look down that straight shot, from what I know of, what his plans are, you will not see that house or anything back there. So it's not going to affect any curb appeal of any pre-existing houses or anything like that. But like I said, to me, I think it would be a little more of a pain to move a storm drain, as in you're probably gonna have to cut up the road and, such and such. Either way, you're gonna have to cut, the fire hydrant out. So I get both ends, but personally, like I would say, I know he had said either accesses would be nice. If it comes down to it and Marietta has to be the option, we will always make things work. We're not there to be a pain. That was one thing he had said. When I looked at it, I said, we're surrounded by houses. I just hope that doesn't cause any battles. I know there's a small garden on the land. We do not, if that's something that somebody wants to have there, we don't see a problem with it. We're not there to disturb anybody. I'm sure, with, things that I'm interested in and that I've already, my vehicles, I'm sure I understand why they might be disturbed by that. But I just hope that they take into consideration, we're truly not there to bother anybody. Just there, as he said, it's going to be his retirement home. And hopefully eventually one day mine too. I think this might be the only way at some point where I'll be able to own one, is if I inherit it from him, just with the way things have gone now. I just want to say something, just keep that into it.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
Yeah, it, is the photo we're looking at, is that Marietta Pike right there, or that's
You're-
part of the parking lot?
You're standing on Marietta Avenue looking at the
But
north.
the
filter.
entrance isn't really off of the restaurant, it's right off of
Correct.
Marietta Pike itself.
Right where that storm drain and the memorial for the fatal accident are located.
You also have to keep in mind the angle of that access point is very severe. It's not straight on. It's at maybe a 45-degree angle off of Marietta.
Oh.
Using Marietta would require a PennDOT access permit.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there's another driveway right there.
Yes.
This is Nate Sturgis. I do also want to point out that the ordinance encourages the use of the lesser classification road when a property abuts an arterial and a local road.
Nate, I'd like you to address Ms. Linton's comment about making a decision on a variance before we have approval from, to move the fire.
I'm not sure where she's referencing that from. The street and sidewalk ordinance that you're potentially granting relief from only requires that the applicant provide a written statement with the relief he needs and the justification.
Okay, thank you.
When I bought the property, it was listed as 733 Dorsia Road. I was unaware that, till I looked at the plot plan, that there was even an access onto Marietta Avenue. So that was well into I had already put in a bid, so I spent $300,000 on a property with the intention of coming off of Dorsia Road. And then all of a sudden, it's changed. I'm not going to be bringing tractor trailers in and out of here. It's my own home, just as it's their own homes. I'm not in here to stand out. I'm in here to fit in. I already go over there. I keep the lawn cut. I'm trying to be as nice as I can be about this. I haven't, you know what I mean? All I want to do is build a house. Nobody stopped any of them from building their homes. I have 3.1 acres there. So I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I wanted. I bought it as 733 Dorsia Road, which is in all the paperwork, it's listed as 733 Dorsia Road. So that was my intention. So, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if it helps to clarify things as well, Ms. Garber was doing some research at the time and came upon the deed that apparently the Dorsia Road access point was created in 2000. So it wasn't always there, but it was created. So it had permission from both property owners on either side to create that sliver of land so that this parcel could access Dorsia.
Okay. Okay. Any more comment from the audience? Sure.
I would just point out that having access to Dorsia Road and being able to comply with driveway standards are two different things. So you could have a walking access to Dorsia Road and still not have the requisite space that you need in order to have driveway standards without waivers. So.
Okay. Any additional comment from the board?
No. I'll just point out, as you guys know, I'm a municipal engineer. I do a lot of land planning. And there is a reasonable clause with waivers too. If a waiver is reasonable and not causing hardship, in terms of like hardship to property value or something like that, there is an expectation with the courts that that waiver would get approved by the municipality. So there is a very high threshold when you deny a waiver and you really restrict that property owner from their property use. So we do need to keep that in mind. There's no guarantee with the Marietta Avenue with that being a PennDOT approval, not a township approval, and that being a skewed driveway and impacting a storm system from PennDOT, that the property owner could even get an access permit at that location. And I guarantee it'd be a very costly permit for that property owner. There would be a pretty high burden for him to access off of Marietta Avenue, especially when PennDOT knows there's an alternate access that could be accessing the site that would have a much lesser impact on the PennDOT right away. So we have to weigh this. We have obviously the Dorsia residents are not in favor of it, but I'm sure that if we mandated that they come down and access it from Marietta, and there's a bunch of sheds and everything that need to be relocated, that we'd have another room full of people that would also be upset by the decision. He's a property owner. He has a right to access his property. Just like we would want anybody else. No one should be telling another property owner whether they can access or not access their property. So we just have to be very careful with the decisions that we're making. I think it's reasonable. He's got 2 access locations. He has a right to utilize those 2 access locations to access his property. And I think we have to be very careful to go against his wishes for his property.
All right. Oh, well, again, the big one for me is that this is his property. He owns it, and he should be allowed to do what he wants with the property. I realize, and from a board standpoint, we make accommodations and waivers and modifications all the time for different projects in different areas. I see this as the same thing. I think he has a right. As he said, he purchased the property at 733 Dorsia Road. And he should be allowed to utilize it in the way he desires. So with that, any more discussion? Any more? Sure.
This is exactly why it hasn't been developed. The previous owner could not do it. The previous owner could not get special permission to change the rules. And that's exactly, why. It's because something that East Hempfield put into place because to preserve not only safety, but also quality, of a neighborhood. That is, again, I would like you to think about the people who have been living there for decades and consider the other access as a viable option because it is.
Well, the other option will be up for consideration because the property owner will make that decision based on the direction he wants to go. That'll be up to him. We won't tell him. Okay, well, it's a tough one. It's hard. Any more discussion? Okay, go ahead.
About that the real estate agent knew, the rules And so I believe that the homeowner knew the rules as well. So, but, you know, and they're nice people, you know, I spoke with them. I don't want to hurt them in any way. It's just that, you know, this is the quality of where we live. So that's why we care. But the real estate agent did know all the ins and outs. So I'm pretty sure that that Craig knew too. So.
Okay, fair. Okay. With that, I guess we're done with discussion, right, guys? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Let's see here. Motion to grant a modification of section 222-5.11H, a driveway design standard to allow a 1.5-foot setback instead of a required 3-foot minimum setback from the property line to 733 Dorsia Road. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Russell. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is granted 4-0. Okay. Next up, we have TLK Partners, a motion to acknowledge receipt of a petition to rezone 200 Running Pump Road from low-density residential to enterprise and authorize submission of the petition to the planning agencies for review. Someone here from TLK?
Likely not. This is just an acknowledgement. We don't discuss it. It's just acknowledging the fact that it's been submitted. It now goes to the Planning Commission and County Planning for review and comment, and will eventually come back to the Board of Supervisors for action.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge the receipt of a, well, I guess we should have some discussion. Any discussion on this?
None. It's routine.
Okay, anything from the audience? Okay, hearing none. Motion to acknowledge receipt of a petition to rezone 200 Running Pump Road from low-density residential to enterprise and authorize the submission of the petition to the planning agencies for review.
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Russell. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Johnson. Motion from Mr. Russell, a second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Next up, Dairy Road Bridge reconstruction. Going to award a reconstruction contract this evening, hopefully. Mrs. Schweitzer.
So Dairy Road Bridge is going to be reconstructed. We had 4 bidders. The low bidder is Low Bar Site Development Corporation at $784,050. We have grants totaling 1.3 million, so we're well within our budget for this project.
Very good. Any discussion from the board? Anything from the audience? Okay, hearing none, I'll hear a motion to award the Dairy Road Bridge reconstruction contract to Low Bar Site Development Corporation, who is the low bidder in the amount of $784,050.
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Brubaker. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Johnson. Motion from Mr. Brubaker, second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Good to see that construction starting.
Are there any more bridges on that road that we need to fix?
That is the last one.
Other than the big one across the railroad tracks?
We're not going to do that one for $780,000.
All right.
Oh, man.
Okay, next up, we have a motion to adopt a Lancaster County hazardous mitigation plan. And have it become part of our township operating procedures. Any comment from the board?
Is this as a result of changes in the hazardous, the unit that covers hazardous material?
No, that has nothing to do with this. And I apologize, there was a pretty significant fire call right across the boundary in West Hempfield. I just wanted to check and make sure that our units were getting there. The 2025 Lancaster County Hazard Mitigation Plan is an update that's required by FEMA through PEMA for the county, and it is a plan that is in place and updated every 5 years. This is just an update to a plan that we have previously promulgated. What it does is it allows us to participate in hazard mitigation grants in the future, should we choose to, and aligns us with the county's hazard mitigation standards. I participated in the process to do the updates this time and the previous 2 iterations, actually. I've been doing that this long, so it's a solid plan, and the county just needs our alignment with it so they can show PEMA that the municipalities within the county are in agreement with it.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the good work you do on this type of thing. Any questions from the audience? Okay. Hearing none, then I'll hear a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-23, adopting the 2025 Lancaster County Hazardous Mitigation Plan update. I'll hear a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second from Mr. Brubaker. Motion from Mr. Johnson, second from Mr. Brubaker. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. And then finally, action items this evening, Lancaster County Memorandum of Understanding.
So this is very similar to the hazard mitigation plan. It's an update. The last one was done, I believe, in 2016. It's just a memorandum of understanding which outlines what the county planning agency services are provided to the township and vice versa, the expectation of the township to county planning.
Okay. So, sounds like a CYA to me.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
Nope. No.
Any questions from the audience this evening? Okay, hearing none, I'll hear a motion to authorize signature on the updated agreement with the Lancaster County Planning Commission Memorandum of Understanding.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Brubaker. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Johnson. Motion from Mr. Brubaker. Second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. All right, moving on to old business, we have our fire and emergency services. Again, we put this on here to make everyone aware of what is going on with primarily the costs associated with fire and emergency services in the township. Any comment from anyone on the board this evening? Hearing none. Anything from the audience? And again, hearing none. And then finally, again, we're going to have our 250th anniversary of the United States. Thoughts and ideas for the celebration? We're up on the website, Mrs. Schweitzer?
Yes.
All right, awesome. I know we have a Parks and Recreation meeting scheduled for next week.
Yes, 12.
Okay. So we'll be moving things along on that. And again, we're looking for input from the community. Very, very important. Any other comment from the board?
No.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Don't believe there is.
Donald
Oh.
Green,
Okay. Excuse me.
Woodcrest Villa,
Okay.
2001 Harrisburg Pike. You have continually solicited requests for ideas. I submitted ideas to the manager and I believe to you.
Yes. Mhm.
What's this meeting next week?
Well, we
Who's
have
invited?
okay. We have a Parks and Recreation committee in the township. It's Mr. Johnson and I are on the committee. Okay. And that's a in-house review of what the plans or what action we might take on this. We're interested in putting together a meeting for the community. We did get your input and it was great. We appreciate the fact that you took the time to do that. But we need more input.
Planning time is running short. The year is going past of 2025. It's time to get off our duffs and get some serious planning done with the community.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to new business. We don't have any new business. Any public comment this evening? Hearing none. How about a manager's report?
So the Route 72 on Lidditz Road temporary signals, they're in flash mode now. They will be live and active tomorrow. I've advised Mrs. Fee's office as well as Mr. Miller's office for their help in getting this accomplished. So those will stay up until PennDOT decides what they want to do permanently at that intersection.
Those temporary signals will be around for next 10 years.
Yes. Plus. Zoning Hearing Board Validity Challenge, we had a staff meeting today with our legal counsel. You should be seeing some additional information regarding that settlement provision. Noldor Park, of course, is closed until mid-November. That project is going quite well. If you've driven past, you've seen the playground going up. Continues to be amazed at how well they are able to keep that site together. The Recreation Authority, the Pro Shop project, the authority has determined that they want to do the smaller building. That price tag right now is standing at 1.673 million. Their next step is to reach out to financial consultants for some pricing and select a consultant who will then guide them into how they will finance the project. Note Road Community Park, the RCAP application has opened. I am actively engaging in conversations with our consultant, GSL. I just submitted additional paperwork and the application is already prepared. We do have to appraise the property, not before the application is submitted, but that does have to be appraised because the property is being put up as 50% collateral or match for the grant ask. DEP is scheduled, I believe, next week to do an MS4 evaluation. That's better than the EPA evaluation, but staff is ready and so is our consultants for that to happen. Harrisburg Pike, Good Drive, I provided you with the memo that Bowman prepared. I also exchanged or sent that to Mr. Ralph so that he is aware. Stormwater projects, the Nisley Road Basin, the fill project has been completed, so that project should be closed out. And as Mr. Bennett mentioned, we do have a Park and Rec Committee scheduled for 9/12.
So, okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep.
It is amazing the number of comments I've already gotten about the Old Dorwart
No, there
Park
weren't. Mhm.
improvement. It's going to be another gem, I think, in the township for us. Finally, I note with sadness this evening that Elam Herr, a longtime member of our zoning hearing board, passed away earlier today, I believe, or yesterday, after a long and protracted illness. He will be missed. He's made a valuable contribution to the township. And it's with great appreciation that I notice passing. With that, anything else this evening, gentlemen? Okay, hearing none. We'll adjourn the meeting at 8:49. Thank you.
How about 7:49?
7? All right, I'll get on track here eventually.